The sun was starting to set over the quiet neighborhood. The girl drove her silver Tesla Model S down the smooth streets lined with tall trees and big houses. She was 17 years old with her hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. She had just finished studying at the public library and was heading home. The electric car made almost no sound as it moved along the road. She loved driving this car. Every time she sat behind the wheel, she remembered how lucky she was. She remembered the day it arrived at her house and how her mother had cried tears of joy. She remembered her little brother jumping up and down with excitement. This car was special. It was not just a car. It was proof that hard work could pay off. The girl checked her speed. She was going exactly the speed limit. She always followed the rules carefully. She knew she had to. She could not afford any mistakes. Her hands rested gently on the steering wheel as she approached a stop sign. She came to a complete stop, looked both ways, and continued forward. That was when she saw the flashing lights in her rearview mirror. Red and blue lights cut through the evening shadows. Her heart jumped in her chest. She felt her stomach drop. She had not done anything wrong. She was sure of it. But the police car was definitely behind her, and it was definitely signaling for her to pull over. The girl took a deep breath. She put on her turn signal and carefully pulled to the side of the road. She turned off the car and placed both hands on the steering wheel where they could be seen. Her mother had taught her this. Her father had taught her this. Her teachers had taught her this. When you get pulled over, keep your hands where they can see them. Be polite, do not make sudden movements. Stay calm even if you are scared. She was scared. Her heart was beating fast. But she kept her face calm. She sat up straight and waited. In her side mirror, she watched a police officer get out of his car. He was a white man, probably in his 40s, with a thick build and a serious face. He walked toward her car with slow, heavy steps. The officer reached her window. She pressed the button to roll it down. Before she could say anything, she saw the look on his face. It was not a normal look. It was a look that said he had already decided something about her. His lips curved into a small smirk. His eyes moved from her face to the inside of the car, then back to her face again. "License and registration," he said. His voice was cold and hard. "Yes, sir," the girl replied politely. "I am going to reach into my glove box now to get my registration. My wallet with my license is in my bag on the passenger seat." She moved slowly and carefully. She opened the glove box and took out the registration papers. Then she reached for her bag and pulled out her wallet. She handed everything to the officer. Her hands were steady, but inside she felt like she was shaking. The officer took the documents. He did not say thank you. He looked at her license, then looked at her face, then looked at the license again. His smirk grew bigger. "Nice car," he said. But the way he said it was not nice at all. It was the way someone says something when they do not believe it. "Real nice car for a kid." The girl said nothing. She had learned that sometimes it was better to stay quiet. "How old are you?" the officer asked, even though her birth date was right there on her license. 17, sir," she answered. 17, he repeated, shaking his head slowly. He looked at the Tesla again, walking around to the front of it. "And you are driving a car that costs more than most people make in a year. That is interesting." The girl felt her cheeks get hot. She knew what he was thinking. She could hear it in his voice. She could see it in the way he looked at her and then at the car. Like the two things did not fit together. Like she did not belong in this car. Like she did not belong in this neighborhood. "The car is registered to me, sir," she said calmly. "Everything is legal." The officer walked back to her window. He bent down and looked inside the car more carefully. He looked at the leather seats. He looked at the touch screen in the center. He looked at her bag, her jacket in the back seat, the textbook stacked neatly beside it. "Kids these days," he muttered, just loud enough for her to hear, "always driving cars they cannot afford. Always trying to look like something they are not." The words hit her like a slap, but she kept her face neutral. She would not give him the satisfaction of seeing her hurt or angry. She sat perfectly still with her hands back on the steering wheel. "Is there a problem, sir?" she asked. "Was I speeding?" "I will ask the questions," the officer snapped. He stood up straight and looked down at her. "You just sit tight while I run your information." He walked back to his police car with her license and registration. The girl watched him in her mirror. He got into his car and started typing on his computer. She could see him talking on his radio. Minutes passed. They felt like hours. The girl's phone buzzed in her bag. She did not reach for it. She did not move at all. She just sat there, hands on the wheel, watching the officer in her mirror. A few cars drove by slowly. She saw people in them turn their heads to look at her. A black girl pulled over by the police in an expensive car. She knew what they were thinking too. The sun was almost gone now. The streetlights came on one by one. The officer was still in his car. What was taking so long? She had not done anything wrong. Her registration was current. Her license was valid. Her insurance was paid. There was nothing for him to find. But she knew this was not really about her license or registration. This was about something else. This was about him seeing a young black girl in an expensive car and deciding that something must be wrong. That she must have stolen it. That she must be lying. That she could not possibly deserve to have something so nice. The girl closed her eyes for just a second. She thought about her mother working double shifts at the hospital. She thought about her father at his construction job, coming home tired every day. She thought about her little brother who looked up to her. She thought about all the hours she had spent studying, coding, building, creating. She thought about the competitions she had won. She thought about the dreams she had for the future. She opened her eyes. The officer was getting out of his car again. But this time he was not alone. He had called for backup. Another police car had arrived and another officer was getting out. The girl's heart started beating even faster. Why did he need another officer? What was happening? The two officers talked to each other for a moment. The first officer pointed at her car. They both looked at her. Then they both started walking toward her window. The girl gripped the steering wheel a little tighter. She lifted her chin. Whatever happened next, she would handle it. She would stay calm. She would stay strong. She had done nothing wrong, and she would not let them make her feel like she had. Officer Mitchell walked back to the girl's window with his partner close behind. The second officer was younger and seemed nervous. He kept looking between his partner and the girl like he was not sure what was going on. "Step out of the vehicle," Officer Mitchell said. It was not a request. It was an order. The girl felt her stomach twist. "May I ask why, sir?" she said politely. "I have not done anything wrong." "I said step out of the vehicle," he repeated, his voice harder now. The girl unbuckled her seatbelt slowly. She opened the door and stepped out onto the sidewalk. The evening air felt cool on her skin. She stood with her hands visible at her sides, just like she had been taught. Officer Mitchell held her license between two fingers like it was something dirty. He waved it in the air. "So, let me get this straight," he said with that same smirk on his face. "You expect me to believe that this car belongs to you?" "It is registered in my name, sir," the girl said. "You can check." "Oh, I checked," he said, walking slowly around her. "And you know what is funny? The registration does have your name on it, but that does not answer my real question. Where did you get this car? Whose car is this really?" The girl took a deep breath. "I already told you, sir. It is my car. It was given to me as a gift." Officer Mitchell stopped walking and laughed. It was a loud, mocking laugh that made the girl's face burn with shame. He looked at his partner. "Did you hear that, Rodriguez? It was a gift. Someone just gave a 17-year-old kid a car that cost more than $80,000. Officer Rodriguez looked uncomfortable. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other. "Mitchell, maybe we should just what?" Officer Mitchell cut him off. "Just let her go? Just ignore the fact that this does not make sense?" He turned back to the girl. "Let me tell you what I think. I think you are in a stolen vehicle. I think you are joyriding through this neighborhood hoping no one notices. I think you found some way to forge these papers." The girl's hands curled into fists at her sides, but she kept them there. She kept her voice steady. "That is not true, sir. I can explain everything if you would just listen." "Oh, I am listening," Officer Mitchell said. "I am listening real carefully. But nothing you are saying is adding up. What is a girl from your part of town doing in this neighborhood anyway? These are not your streets." "I was at the library," the girl said. "I go there to study. And I can drive on any public street I want. I have broken no laws." Officer Mitchell's eyes narrowed. "You are getting smart with me now?" "No, sir," the girl said quickly. "I am just trying to explain." "You want to explain? Fine. Explain how a kid your age can afford a Tesla. Explain what kind of gift this is. Explain who gave it to you and why." He crossed his arms over his chest. "And it better be good because I am about 2 seconds away from calling a tow truck and having this vehicle impounded. The girl felt tears trying to form in her eyes, but she would not let them fall. Not here, not in front of him. I won several technology competitions, she said. I created apps and programs. My work got attention from important people in the tech industry. One of them gave me this car to support my education and my future. Officer Mitchell laughed again. Tech competitions, apps, do you really expect me to believe that? He looked at his partner. Rodriguez, run the VIN number. Check if this car is reported stolen anywhere in the country. Check every database we have. Mitchell, her registration looks legitimate, Officer Rodriguez said quietly. Maybe we should. I do not care how it looks, Officer Mitchell snapped. Run the numbers. Do your job. Officer Rodriguez sighed and walked back to the police car. The girl watched him go, feeling a little piece of hope die. They were not going to believe her. It did not matter what she said or what proof she had. They had already decided she was guilty of something. By now, more people were stopping to watch. Cars slowed down as they passed. A woman walking her dog stopped on the sidewalk across the street, pulling out her phone. An older couple came out of their house and stood on their front porch watching. The girl felt all their eyes on her. She felt exposed. She felt like she was on trial in the middle of the street for no crime, except existing in a nice car while being black. Officer Mitchell noticed the crowd too. But instead of being careful, he seemed to enjoy it. He spoke louder like he wanted everyone to hear. You see this? He called out to no one in particular. This is what happens when people try to live above their means, when they try to pretend to be something they are not. The girl's chest felt tight. She wanted to scream. She wanted to cry. She wanted to tell him exactly what she thought of him. But she knew she could not. She knew that any sign of anger or emotion would be used against her, so she stood there silent and still, while he humiliated her in front of all these people. You know what else does not make sense? Officer Mitchell continued. He was on a roll now, enjoying himself. Your address. You live in the east side of town. That is miles from here. What business do you have driving around in this neighborhood? I told you, the girl said, her voice quieter now. I was at the library. Which library? The main branch on Chester Avenue. That is not even in this neighborhood, Officer Mitchell said. That is 3 neighborhoods over. So why are you here? The girl was so tired. She was tired of explaining. She was tired of defending herself for doing nothing wrong. I like to drive, she said. I like to see different parts of the city. There is no law against that. There is a law against driving a stolen vehicle, Officer Mitchell shot back. This car is not stolen. The girl's voice rose for the first time. She could not help it anymore. I have shown you my registration. I have shown you my license. What more do you want from me? I want the truth, Officer Mitchell said, stepping closer to her. I want you to stop lying and tell me where you really got this car. Officer Rodriguez came back from the police car. He looked even more uncomfortable than before. Mitchell, the VIN is clean. The car is not reported stolen anywhere. Everything checks out. Officer Mitchell's jaw tightened. Then run her license again. Check for warrants. Check for anything. I already did. She is clean, no record. Not even a parking ticket. The girl felt a tiny bit of relief. At least they could not arrest her for something she did not do. But Officer Mitchell did not look relieved. He looked angry. He looked like a man who had been proven wrong but was not ready to admit it. Fine, he said through gritted teeth. But I'm still not convinced. People do not just give away cars like this. Somebody is lying here and I'm going to find out who. I am not lying, the girl said. She was so tired of saying these words. Everything I told you is true. Prove it, Officer Mitchell challenged. Prove that someone gave you this car. Prove that you did not steal it or buy it with drug money or scam some old person out of their savings. Drug money. The words hit the girl like a punch. He really thought that. He really believed that the only way a black teenager could have something nice was if she got it through crime. No matter what she said, no matter what proof she showed, he would never see her as someone who earned it. Someone who deserved it, but he wanted proof. Fine, she would give him proof. Can I get my phone? The girl asked. It is in my bag in the car. I can show you emails, documents, everything you need to see. Officer Mitchell studied her face for a long moment. Fine, but move slowly. Keep your hands where I can see them. The girl walked to the passenger side of her car, both officers watching her every move. She opened the door and picked up her bag. Her hands were shaking now, but she tried to steady them. She pulled out her phone and unlocked it. She pulled up her email app. She found the folder where she kept all the important messages, the ones from the CEO, the ones from his company, the ones that changed her life. She turned the phone around to show Officer Mitchell. "Here," she said. "Read this." Officer Mitchell took the phone roughly from her hand. His eyes scanned the screen. The girl watched his face carefully. She saw the moment his expression started to change, the moment he realized he had made a terrible mistake. 6 months earlier, the girl's life was very different. She woke up every morning at 5:30 to the sound of her alarm clock buzzing in the small bedroom. She shared with nothing but a bed, a desk, and walls covered with posters of scientists and inventors. Her mother was usually already awake, getting ready for the early shift at the hospital where she worked as a nurse. The girl would get dressed quickly in the dark so she would not wake her little brother, who slept on a fold-out couch in the living room. Their apartment was small, just 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a kitchen that was also the dining room. But it was clean and it was home. Her mother kept it spotless even though she worked long hours and was always tired. After getting dressed, the girl would make breakfast for herself and her brother. Usually just cereal or toast, sometimes eggs if they had them. Her mother always left money on the counter for lunch, but the girl usually saved it. She had plans, big plans, and those plans needed money. School started at 8, but the girl left the house at 6:45. She had to take 2 buses to get there. The first bus came at 7. It was always crowded with people going to work. The girl would squeeze into a seat if she could find one, or stand holding the rail if she could not. She used that time to study. She kept her textbooks in her backpack and would read while the bus bumped and swayed through the city streets. At school, she was known as the smart girl, the one who always had her hand up. The one who asked too many questions, the one who stayed after class to learn more. Some kids thought she was trying too hard. Some kids called her names, but she did not care. She had a goal. She wanted to go to college. She wanted to study computer science. She wanted to make something of herself. Her grades were perfect. All A's in every class. Her teachers loved her. They wrote recommendation letters for her. They told her she could do anything she wanted. But the girl knew that good grades were not enough. She needed more. She needed something that would make her stand out. That was when she started learning to code. The school had an old computer lab that stayed open until 5 in the afternoon. The girl would go there every day after her last class. She taught herself to program using free tutorials online. She started with simple things, basic websites, small games, but she learned fast, very fast. After 2 hours in the computer lab, the girl would rush to catch the bus to her first job. She worked at a fast food restaurant 4 days a week from 6 to 10 at night. She wore a uniform with a name tag and took orders from customers. Some customers were nice, some were rude. Some did not even look at her when they ordered. But she smiled and said thank you, and worked hard because she needed every dollar. On the weekends, she had a second job cleaning offices downtown. She would vacuum floors and empty trash cans and wipe down desks. The building was quiet on Saturdays and Sundays. Just her and 1 security guard. She liked the quiet. She would listen to coding podcasts while she cleaned. She was always learning, always trying to get better, but the girl's real passion was creating things. At night, after work, after homework, after everything else, she would sit at her desk in her dark bedroom with her mother's old laptop. The laptop was slow and the battery did not hold a charge anymore, so it had to stay plugged in all the time. But it worked, and that was all she needed. She started building apps, small ones at first, an app to help students organize their homework, an app to find the cheapest grocery stores in the neighborhood. She would post them online for free. Not many people downloaded them, but she did not care. She was learning. She was getting better. Then one day she had an idea, a big idea. She had noticed something in her neighborhood. There were no electric car charging stations. None at all. The closest one was 15 miles away in a rich neighborhood. But as more people started buying electric cars, even people with less money, they needed places to charge them, places that were close to where they lived. The girl started doing research. She learned about electric vehicles. She learned about charging stations. She learned about city planning and environmental justice. She learned that most charging stations were built in wealthy areas because that was where most electric car owners lived. But what about everyone else? What about the people who wanted to help the environment, but could not afford to drive far to charge their cars? She decided to build an app that would solve this problem. An app that would show where charging stations were needed most. An app that would help cities and companies decide where to build new stations. An app that would make electric cars accessible to everyone, not just rich people. The girl worked on this app for 3 months. Every spare moment she had, during lunch at school, during breaks at work, late at night when everyone else was asleep. She taught herself new programming languages. She collected data. She built algorithms. She tested and retested everything until it was perfect. When she was finally done, she entered the app in a regional technology competition for high school students. She did not tell anyone. Not her mother, not her teachers. She did not want to get her hopes up. She just filled out the application, submitted her app, and waited. 2 weeks later, she got an email. She had won first place. Not just in her age group, first place overall. The judges said her app was innovative and important. They said it addressed a real problem with a real solution. They said she had a bright future. The prize was $500 and a chance to present at a technology summit in California. The girl could not believe it. She had never been on a plane before. She had never been outside her state before. But here was this chance. This amazing chance, her mother cried when she told her. Happy tears. Proud tears. Her mother had always believed in her. But this was proof that her daughter was special. That all the hard work was worth something. Her mother used some savings to buy her a nice outfit for the presentation. Her teachers at school helped her practice her speech. The day of the trip came. The girl was so nervous she could barely eat. She had never seen so many people in one place. The summit was held in a huge building with glass walls and expensive art. There were hundreds of people there. Scientists, inventors, business people, all wearing nice clothes and talking about important things. The girl felt out of place in her one nice outfit that her mother had bought on sale. She felt young and small and scared, but when it was her turn to present, she walked on that stage with her head high. She talked about her app. She talked about her neighborhood. She talked about how technology should serve everyone, not just people with money. People listened, really listened. When she was done, they clapped. Some of them even stood up. The girl felt like she was floating. This was the best moment of her life. After her presentation, people came up to talk to her. They asked her questions. They gave her their business cards. They told her to stay in touch. The girl smiled and nodded and tried to remember everyone's names. Then one man approached her. He was tall and casual in his dress. He had a kind face. He introduced himself, and the girl's heart stopped. She knew who he was. Everyone knew who he was. He was the CEO of Tesla, one of the most famous people in the technology world. That was an excellent presentation, he said. Your app addresses something I have been thinking about for years. How do we make sustainable transportation available to everyone? You are asking the right questions. The girl could barely speak. Thank you, sir, she managed to say. That means so much coming from you. They talked for 20 minutes. He asked her about her coding process, about her goals, about her dreams. He listened to every word like she was the most important person in the room. Before he left, he gave her his card. Not his assistant's card, his personal card. Stay in touch, he said. I want to follow your work. I think you are going to do great things. The girl flew home feeling like she was still in a dream. She put his business card in a safe place and looked at it every day. She could not believe that someone so important had talked to her, had believed in her. 2 weeks after she got home, her app went viral. People started sharing it online. News websites wrote articles about it. Technology blogs featured it. Suddenly, thousands of people were downloading her app. City planners were using it. Environmental groups were sharing it. Her phone would not stop buzzing with notifications. Then came the email that changed everything. It was from the CEO himself. He said he had been following the success of her app. He said he was impressed by her dedication and vision. He said he wanted to support her future in any way he could. And then he asked for her home address. The girl was confused. Why did he need her address? But she sent it anyway. She trusted him. She had no reason not to. And then she waited. She had no idea what was coming. She had no idea that her life was about to change forever. 2 weeks after the girl sent her address, something incredible happened. It was a Saturday morning. The girl was at the kitchen table doing homework while her little brother watched cartoons. Her mother was getting ready for work. It was a normal day, just like any other day. Then someone knocked on the door. Not a regular knock, a professional knock. The kind of knock that said official business. The girl got up to answer it. Through the peephole, she saw two men in suits standing in the hallway. One of them held a clipboard. Behind them, through the window at the end of the hall, she could see something silver and shiny parked on the street below. She opened the door carefully. The chain lock was still on. "Yes?" she said. "Are you the daughter of the family that lives here?" one of the men asked. He was smiling. A genuine smile. "Yes," the girl said. "Is something wrong?" "Nothing is wrong," the man said. Quite the opposite, actually. "We are here to make a delivery. A very special delivery. Is your mother home?" The girl's heart started beating faster. "My mother is here. Just a moment." She closed the door and called for her mother. "Mom, there are some men here. They said they have a delivery." Her mother came to the door, still putting on her earrings for work. She looked through the peephole, then looked at her daughter with a confused face. She opened the door, this time without the chain. "Can I help you? Are you the mother of this young lady?" the man asked, gesturing to the girl. "Yes, I am. What is this about?" The man's smile got bigger. "I have some paperwork for you to sign. Your daughter has received a gift. A very generous gift. If you would both come downstairs with me, I will show you." The girl and her mother looked at each other. A gift? Who would send them a gift? They followed the men downstairs, the girl's little brother running behind them. When they stepped outside the building, the girl saw it. Parked right in front of their building was a silver Tesla Model S. It was the most beautiful car she had ever seen. It gleamed in the morning sunlight like something from a dream. "This cannot be real," the girl whispered. "It is very real," the man said. He walked to the car and opened the driver's side door. "This vehicle is a gift for you. From the CEO of Tesla. He was very impressed with your work and your vision. He wanted to support your future." The girl's mother put her hand over her mouth. Tears started running down her face. The girl just stood there frozen. She could not believe what she was seeing. This could not be happening. Things like this did not happen to people like her. The man pulled out an envelope from his jacket. "Inside this envelope, you will find the registration papers in your daughter's name. The car is fully paid for. No loans, no monthly payments. It is yours. Also included is information about a scholarship fund that has been set up in your daughter's name. It will cover her college tuition completely, and there is an internship offer for when she graduates high school, if she wants it." The girl's mother started crying harder. She pulled her daughter into a tight hug. The girl's little brother was jumping up and down, screaming with excitement. Neighbors started coming out of the building to see what was going on. The girl felt like her legs might give out. This was too much. This was too good to be true. "There is also a note," the man said, handing her a small card. The girl took it with shaking hands. She opened it and read, "For a future innovator who will change the world. Keep dreaming and building. Your work matters. You matter. Never let anyone tell you that you do not belong. The world needs voices like yours. Drive this car with pride. You have earned it." The note was signed with just initials, but the girl knew who it was from. She had his business card in her room. She had memorized those initials. The man showed them all the car's features, the touchscreen in the center, the autopilot system, the sound system, the trunk space, everything. He gave the girl's mother all the paperwork, insurance information, warranty information, charging instructions. Everything was taken care of. Everything was perfect. "One more thing," the man said. He pulled out a key card. "This is how you start the car. Just keep it in your pocket or bag. The car will sense it. But there is also an app you can download to your phone. You can control everything from the app. Lock it, unlock it, check the charge, turn on the heat before you get in, everything." The girl took the key card. It felt like magic in her hand. "I do not know what to say," she whispered. "I do not know how to thank him." "He does not want thanks," the man said gently. "He wants you to succeed. He believes in you. Show him he was right to believe. That is all the thanks he needs." After the men left, the girl and her mother and her brother stood on the sidewalk just staring at the car. Neighbors came over to congratulate them. Some of them had tears in their eyes too. Everyone in the building knew how hard this family worked. They knew the girl stayed up late studying. They knew the mother worked double shifts. They knew this family deserved something good. "Can we sit in it?" the girl's little brother asked, bouncing on his toes. The girl looked at her mother. Her mother nodded, wiping her eyes. They all got in. The girl sat in the driver's seat. Her hands touched the steering wheel carefully, like it might disappear if she held it too tight. The seats were soft leather. The inside smelled new. Everything was clean and perfect and beautiful. "Mom," the girl said, her voice breaking. "Is this really happening?" Her mother reached over and squeezed her hand. "This is happening, baby. This is real. You did this. You earned this. I am so proud of you." That first week, the girl barely drove the car. She was too scared. What if she crashed it? What if she scratched it? What if something happened to it? Her mother had to push her to take it out. "He gave it to you to use," her mother said. "Not to sit in the garage. Drive it, enjoy it. You earned it." So the girl started driving. At first, just to school and back. Her classmates could not believe it. They all came out to look at it in the parking lot. Her teachers were amazed. The principal asked her to speak at an assembly about her success. The girl was embarrassed by all the attention, but she was also proud. For the first time in her life, she felt like she had really accomplished something big. The local news heard about the story. They came to interview her. They filmed her with the car. They talked about her app and her dreams. When the story aired on TV, the girl watched it with her family. Seeing herself on television felt strange and exciting. Her mother recorded it and watched it over and over again. More opportunities started coming. A college sent her a recruitment letter. A technology company asked her to speak at their event. Other students started asking her for advice about coding and apps. The girl helped anyone who asked. She remembered what it felt like to be learning alone in the computer lab. She wanted to help others the way she had been helped. But the best part was driving. The girl loved to drive. After finishing her homework each night, she would take the Tesla out and just cruise around the city. She loved how quiet it was, how smooth, how powerful. She loved the way people looked at it. She loved seeing kids' faces light up when they saw it. She hoped maybe she inspired them. Maybe they saw her and thought they could do great things too. She drove to different neighborhoods, rich neighborhoods with big houses and perfect lawns. She wanted to see how other people lived. She wanted to dream about the future, about what she could accomplish, about what she could become. She never felt like she did not belong. The car gave her confidence. It gave her proof that hard work paid off. It gave her hope. The girl always drove carefully. She always followed the rules. She never sped. She never ran red lights. She never gave anyone any reason to stop her. She was a good driver, a safe driver, a responsible driver. That was why she was so shocked when she saw those flashing lights behind her 6 months after receiving the car. She had done nothing wrong. She was sure of it. But that officer looked at her with suspicion from the very first moment. He looked at her and saw someone who did not fit. Someone who must have done something wrong. Someone who could not possibly deserve to be driving such an expensive car. Now standing on the side of the road with Officer Mitchell reading through her emails, the girl thought about that note in the envelope. Never let anyone tell you that you do not belong. Those words had meant everything to her. She had read them over and over again in moments of doubt. But right now, standing here being humiliated by this police officer, those words felt hollow. Because here was someone telling her exactly that. Telling her she did not belong. Telling her something must be wrong. Telling her she was a liar. But the proof was right there in his hands. The emails. The documents. The news articles, everything. She had nothing to hide. She had done nothing wrong. And soon, very soon, Officer Mitchell was going to realize that he had made a terrible, terrible mistake. Officer Mitchell's face changed as he read the emails on the girl's phone. His smirk faded. His eyes moved quickly across the screen, reading line after line. The girl watched him carefully. She could see the exact moment he realized he was wrong. His jaw tightened. His shoulders tensed. But he kept reading, scrolling through email after email. Officer Rodriguez stepped closer. "What is it?" he asked. Officer Mitchell did not answer right away. He just kept reading. The girl stood quietly, her arms crossed over her chest to stop herself from shaking. Around them, more neighbors had come out to watch. An older black woman stood on her porch shaking her head. A young white couple whispered to each other. A teenager was recording everything on his phone. Finally, Officer Mitchell lowered the phone. He looked at the girl, then he looked away. Then he looked at Officer Rodriguez. "She is telling the truth," he said quietly. "It is all here. Emails from the CEO. Documents about the gift. News articles, everything." Officer Rodriguez took the phone and started reading. His eyes got wider with each swipe of his finger. "Holy," he whispered. "This is real. This is actually real." "Yes," the girl said, her voice stronger now. "That is what I have been trying to tell you. Everything is legal. Everything is documented. This car was given to me as a gift because I earned it. Because I worked hard. Because I built something important." Officer Mitchell's face was red now, but not from anger. From embarrassment. From shame. He knew he had messed up. He had accused an innocent girl of being a criminal. He had humiliated her in front of all these people. And he had been completely wrong. "I need to make a call," he said, pulling out his radio. He walked a few steps away and spoke quietly into it. The girl could not hear what he was saying, but she could guess. He was probably calling his supervisor, probably trying to figure out how to handle this situation. Officer Rodriguez handed the phone back to the girl. "I'm sorry," he said. "It was just 2 words, but they were sincere. We should not have treated you this way. You did nothing wrong." The girl took her phone. "Thank you," she said. At least one of them had the decency to apologize. More police cars were arriving now. A senior officer got out of one of them. He was older, maybe in his 50s, with gray hair and a serious face. He wore more medals and badges than the other officers. The girl guessed he was someone important. A captain or lieutenant or something like that. Officer Mitchell walked over to him quickly. They talked in low voices. The girl saw the senior officer's face change as Mitchell explained the situation. He looked angry. Very angry. He glanced over at the girl and his expression softened. He looked sad. Disappointed. Like a father who just found out his son did something wrong. The senior officer walked over to the girl. "Miss, I am Captain Williams," he said. "I want to apologize on behalf of the police department. You should never have been stopped. You did nothing wrong. You are free to go." The girl nodded. "Am I free to go right now?" she asked. "Or do you need anything else from me?" "No, we do not need anything else," Captain Williams said. "Your registration is valid. Your license is valid. Everything is in order. You can leave whenever you want." "Okay," the girl said. She started walking toward her car. "Miss," Captain Williams called after her. She turned around. "I really am sorry. This should not have happened." The girl looked at him for a long moment. Then she looked at Officer Mitchell, who was standing by his patrol car looking at the ground. Then she looked at all the people watching from their porches and windows and cars. She thought about all the things she wanted to say, all the anger she felt, all the hurt and humiliation, but instead she just said, "Thank you, Captain." She got in her car and started the engine. Before she drove away, something made her stop. She sat there for a moment, her hands on the steering wheel, thinking. Then she reached for her phone. She opened the settings for her dashboard camera. Yes, it had been recording. The whole thing. Every word. Every accusation. Every moment of humiliation. The girl looked at the recording. It was clear. The audio was perfect. You could see Officer Mitchell's face. You could hear every word he said. Every assumption. Every insult. Everything. She downloaded the video to her phone. Then she sat there thinking, what should she do with this? Part of her wanted to just go home. Forget this ever happened. Move on with her life. But another part of her knew that this was bigger than just her. This was not just about one bad police officer. This was about a system. This was about how people like her were treated every day. This was about justice. The girl got out of her car. Captain Williams was still there, talking to his officers. She walked over to him. "Captain Williams," she said. He turned around. "Yes, miss. I want you to know that my car has a dashboard camera," the girl said clearly. "It has been recording this entire encounter. Everything that was said, everything that was done. I have it all on video." The color drained from Officer Mitchell's face. Officer Rodriguez closed his eyes. Captain Williams took a deep breath. "I see," he said. "And what do you plan to do with that video?" "I have not decided yet," the girl said honestly. "But I thought you should know it exists." Captain Williams nodded slowly. "That is your right," he said. "The video is your property. You can do with it whatever you think is right." The girl looked at Officer Mitchell. He was staring at her now, his face pale. She could see the fear in his eyes. He knew what that video could do to his career, to his reputation, to his life. Good, let him be afraid. Let him feel a tiny fraction of what she had felt standing on this sidewalk, being accused of crimes she did not commit. I just want to drive home in peace, the girl said. I want to live my life without being stopped for no reason. I want to be treated like any other person on the road. Is that too much to ask? No, Captain Williams said firmly. That is not too much to ask. That is what you deserve. And I promise you, this situation will be investigated. There will be consequences, the girl nodded. She did not know if she believed him, but at least he was saying the right things. She walked back to her car. This time she got in and drove away. She did not look back. She did not wave. She just drove. Her hands were shaking on the steering wheel. Her whole body was shaking. Now that it was over, now that she was safe, all the emotions she had been holding back came flooding out. Tears ran down her face. She pulled over 2 blocks away and just cried. She cried for herself. She cried for every other black person who had been stopped for no reason. She cried for the injustice of it all. After a few minutes, she wiped her eyes and took some deep breaths. She needed to call her mother. Her mother would be worried. She looked at the time. Her mother was still at work. She would call her later. Right now, she just wanted to go home. The girl drove the rest of the way carefully. She noticed every police car she passed. Her heart jumped every time she saw one. She had never felt this way before. She had always felt safe in her car. But now that safety was gone. Now she knew that at any moment she could be pulled over again, questioned again, humiliated again, just for existing while black. When she got home, her little brother was there. He ran to her when she walked in. "Can we go for a ride later?" he asked excitedly. "Please?" The girl hugged him tight. "Not today, buddy," she said. "I am tired. Maybe tomorrow." She went to her room and sat on her bed. She pulled out her phone and looked at the video again. Should she post it online? Should she send it to the news? Should she file a complaint? What was the right thing to do? The girl thought about the note that came with her car. Never let anyone tell you that you do not belong. But someone had just told her exactly that. And they had not just told her. They had humiliated her, accused her, treated her like a criminal. She thought about the CEO who had given her this gift. He had believed in her. He had seen her potential. He had wanted to help her succeed. Would he want her to stay quiet about this, or would he want her to speak up? The girl knew what she had to do. This was not just about her anymore. This was about every kid who looked like her. Every kid who dared to dream big. Every kid who worked hard and achieved something great but was still treated like they did not belong. She opened her social media app. She had built up a decent following since her app went viral. A few thousand people followed her for updates about her work. They would see this. They would share it. It would spread, but before she posted it, she wanted to think carefully about what to say. She did not want to just complain. She wanted to make a point. She wanted people to understand what this was really about. The girl spent an hour writing and rewriting her message. Finally, she had something she was happy with. Something that explained what happened. Something that made people think. Something that called for change. She attached the video. She read through her message one more time. Then, before she could change her mind, she hit post. The video was out there now. There was no taking it back. Whatever happened next, she was ready for it. The video started spreading within an hour. At first, just a few people shared it. Then a few dozen. Then hundreds. By that evening, thousands of people had watched it. The comments poured in. People were angry. People were shocked. People were saying this was exactly what they had been talking about. This was proof of the problem. The girl's phone would not stop buzzing. Notifications kept popping up. Messages from friends. Messages from strangers. Messages from reporters asking for interviews. It was overwhelming. She turned off her phone and tried to do her homework, but she could not focus. Her mind kept going back to that moment on the side of the road. To Officer Mitchell's face. To his accusations. To the way he had laughed at her. Her mother came home from work around 9. The girl heard the front door open and went to meet her. Her mother took one look at her face and knew something was wrong. "What happened?" she asked, pulling her daughter close. The girl told her everything. The traffic stop. The accusations. The humiliation. The video, all of it. Her mother held her while she cried. "I am so sorry, baby," her mother whispered. I am so sorry you had to go through that. But I am proud of you. I am proud that you stood up for yourself. I am proud that you are speaking out. I am scared, Mom, the girl admitted. I do not know what is going to happen. What if this makes things worse? What if I get stopped again? What if they come after me? Her mother pulled back and looked her daughter in the eyes. They might, she said honestly. This is not going to be easy, but you did the right thing. You are not just standing up for yourself. You are standing up for everyone who looks like us, everyone who has been through something like this. That takes courage. The next morning, the girl woke up to discover that her video had gone viral. Completely viral. Millions of views. Hundreds of thousands of shares. It was on the news. It was trending on social media. Everyone was talking about it. The girl felt sick to her stomach. This was so much bigger than she had expected. She turned on the TV while getting ready for school. Her video was playing on the morning news. The anchors were discussing it. A legal expert was analyzing Officer Mitchell's behavior. A civil rights activist was calling for his suspension. The girl stared at the screen in disbelief. This was really happening. Her phone was still off from the night before. She was afraid to turn it on. But she had to. She needed to see what people were saying. When she finally powered it up, it exploded with notifications. Thousands of them. Her social media followers had jumped from a few thousand to over 100,000 overnight. News organizations were tagging her. Celebrities were sharing her video. Politicians were commenting on it. But there were also mean messages. Hateful messages. People saying she was lying. People saying she was trying to get attention. People saying the officer did nothing wrong. People using terrible words that made her feel sick. The girl knew these messages would come, but seeing them still hurt. At school that day, everyone knew. Everyone had seen the video. Some students came up to her and told her she was brave. Some teachers pulled her aside to offer support. But some people looked at her differently, like she had caused trouble, like she should have just kept quiet. During lunch, the principal called her to the office. The girl's heart raced. Was she in trouble? But when she got there, the principal smiled at her. I just wanted to check on you, she said. This must be a difficult time. If you need anything, support, counseling, time off, just let me know. The girl felt relieved. Thank you, she said. I am okay. I just want things to go back to normal. I do not think things are going to be normal for a while, the principal said gently. You have started an important conversation. That is not a bad thing, but it is going to be intense, she was right. Over the next few days, the story got bigger and bigger. National news networks picked it up. The video was shown on every major channel. Reporters camped outside the girl's apartment building trying to get an interview. Her mother had to ask them to leave. The police department released a statement saying they were investigating the incident. Officer Mitchell was placed on administrative leave pending the investigation. Then something unexpected happened. The CEO of Tesla himself tweeted about it. He shared the girl's video with a message. This is unacceptable. I gave this young woman a car because she represents the best of what humanity can be. Innovative, hardworking, and committed to making the world better. To see her treated this way breaks my heart. We must do better. His tweet was shared millions of times. Major news outlets made it their top story. The pressure on the police department intensified. People demanded answers. They demanded justice. They demanded change. 5 days after the video went viral, the police department held a press conference. The girl watched it on TV with her mother and brother. Captain Williams stood at a podium with the police chief beside him. We have completed our preliminary investigation into the traffic stop involving the young woman, he said. We have determined that Officer Mitchell violated several department policies during this encounter. He racially profiled the driver. He made inappropriate assumptions. He failed to treat her with the respect and dignity that every citizen deserves. The girl felt her mother squeeze her hand. This was it. They were admitting it. They were saying she was right. As a result, Captain Williams continued, Officer Mitchell has been suspended without pay for 90 days. He will undergo mandatory bias training. He will be on probation for 1 year after his return. And we are implementing new training for all officers on implicit bias and respectful traffic stops. 90 days. Just 90 days. The girl felt disappointed. Was that all? Was that enough for what he did to her? For what he probably did to countless others? But then the police chief stepped forward. I also want to personally apologize to this young woman, he said, looking directly at the camera. What happened to her should never have happened. She is an outstanding member of our community. She is an inspiration, and she deserved better from us. We are committed to doing better. We are committed to change. After the press conference, the reporters wanted to talk to the girl. They wanted her response. Her mother asked her if she wanted to do an interview. The girl thought about it. She had said her piece with the video. Did she need to say more? But then she realized that yes, she did need to say more, because this was not over. The conversation could not end with just an apology and a suspension. Real change took more than that. The girl agreed to do one interview with a national news network. They came to her apartment with cameras and lights and microphones. The girl sat on her couch in her nicest shirt, her mother beside her. The reporter was a kind black woman who had probably been through something similar herself. "How do you feel about the police department's response?" the reporter asked. The girl thought carefully before answering. "I am glad they admitted what happened was wrong," she said. "I am glad they are implementing new training. But I wonder if it is enough. Because the problem is not just one officer. The problem is a system that allows officers to treat people like me this way in the first place. A system that makes them think it is okay to assume we are criminals just because of the color of our skin." "What would you like to see happen?" the reporter asked. "I would like to see real accountability," the girl said. "Not just training sessions that officers sit through and forget. Not just suspensions that are basically paid vacations. I would like to see consequences that actually matter. I would like to see a system where officers know that if they treat people unfairly, they will lose their jobs. Period." The reporter nodded. "You have become a voice for a lot of young people who have experienced similar situations. How does that feel?" The girl looked at her mother, then back at the reporter. "It feels heavy," she said honestly. "I did not ask for this. I just wanted to drive home from the library. But if my experience can help other people, if it can start conversations that lead to change, then maybe it is worth it. I just hope that someday, kids who look like me can drive nice cars or walk in nice neighborhoods or exist in spaces without constantly being questioned, without constantly having to prove we belong." The interview aired that night. It was shared millions of times. People said the girl was wise beyond her years. They said she was articulate and brave. They said she was a role model. The girl appreciated the kind words, but she also felt exhausted. She just wanted to be a regular teenager again. She wanted to go to school and code and dream about college without all this attention. But she knew that was not going to happen anytime soon. She had started something, and now she had to see it through. Because this was not just about her anymore. This was about everyone who came before her, everyone who would come after her. This was about making the world just a little bit better, even if it was hard. Even if it was scary. That was what real change required. 3 weeks after the video went viral, the girl's life had changed in ways she never imagined. She could not go anywhere without being recognized. People stopped her in stores, on the street, at school. Most were supportive. They thanked her. They shared their own stories of being profiled, but some were hostile. They told her she was playing the victim. They told her she was making things up. The girl learned to ignore them, but it was hard. The media attention slowly started to calm down. The reporters stopped camping outside her building. The interview requests became less frequent. But the impact of what she had done continued to spread. Police departments across the country announced new training programs. Several officers in different cities were investigated for similar incidents after people came forward with their own videos. The girl had started a movement without meaning to. One afternoon, the girl received an email that made her stop everything she was doing. It was from the CEO's office, not from an assistant, from him directly. He wanted to meet with her. He was going to be in town for a business meeting and wondered if she would have lunch with him. The girl read the email 3 times to make sure it was real. Then she called her mother at work. "Mom, he wants to meet me," the girl said, her voice shaking with excitement. "Who?" her mother asked. "Him. The CEO. The one who gave me the car. He wants to have lunch with me." Her mother was quiet for a moment, then she said, "Of course he does. He is proud of you. We all are." The lunch was scheduled for Saturday at a nice restaurant downtown. The girl spent the whole week worrying about what to wear, what to say, how to act. Her mother took her shopping for a new outfit, a nice dress and jacket. Professional but not too formal. When Saturday came, the girl was so nervous she could barely eat breakfast. Her mother drove her to the restaurant. "You are going to be fine," her mother said, squeezing her hand. "Just be yourself. That is who he wants to meet." The restaurant was fancier than anywhere the girl had ever been. The host led her to a private table in the back. And there he was, the CEO. He stood up when he saw her and smiled warmly. "Thank you for coming," he said, shaking her hand. "Please sit." They ordered food, though the girl was too nervous to be hungry. For the first few minutes, they talked about small things: school, her app, how the car was running. But eventually, they got to the real reason he wanted to meet. "I saw what happened to you," he said, his expression serious. "I'm so sorry. That should never have happened. And I am sorry if the car I gave you made you a target." The girl shook her head quickly. "No, please do not apologize. The car did not make me a target. Being black made me a target. That officer would have found a reason to stop me no matter what I was driving. At least with the car, I had proof of my success. I had something to show him that I earned my place." The CEO nodded thoughtfully. "You handled that situation with remarkable grace. And what you did afterwards, sharing that video, speaking out, that took real courage. You used your voice to create change. That is exactly the kind of leadership the world needs." They talked for over 2 hours. About technology, about justice, about the future. The CEO told her about his own experiences being doubted and underestimated. He told her that the path to success was never easy, especially for people who did not fit the expected mold. But that made the success even more meaningful. Before they left, he had one more surprise. "I talked to my team," he said. "We want to expand the program that brought you that car. We want to identify more young innovators from underserved communities. Students like you who have talent and drive but lack resources. We want to give them scholarships, mentorship, internships, and yes, sometimes cars. We are calling it the Future Innovators Program. And I want you to help us run it." The girl could not believe what she was hearing. "You want me to help run it?" "Yes. You know what these kids are going through. You know what they need. Your voice would be invaluable. Obviously, school comes first. But maybe a few hours a week, reviewing applications, mentoring students, helping us make decisions. We would pay you, of course, and it would look great on your college applications." The girl felt tears forming in her eyes. "Yes," she said. "Yes, I would love to." Over the next few months, the girl threw herself into the program. She reviewed applications from students across the country, kids who built robots in their garages, kids who coded apps on ancient computers, kids who had big dreams but no resources. She interviewed them. She encouraged them. She told them their dreams were possible because hers had come true. The program gave out its first scholarships and awards 3 months later. 5 students received full college scholarships. 3 received new laptops. 1 received a car, just like the girl had. The girl attended the award ceremony and gave a speech. She told the winners that they deserved everything they received, that they should never let anyone make them feel otherwise, that they belonged everywhere they chose to be. The story of the traffic stop started to fade from the headlines, but its impact remained. The police department had actually followed through on its promises. New training was implemented. Officers were required to document the reason for every traffic stop. Body camera footage was reviewed regularly. It was not perfect. Real change never happened overnight. But it was something. It was progress. Officer Mitchell served his suspension. When he returned to duty, he was assigned to desk work instead of patrol. The girl heard that he had to attend counseling sessions about racial bias. She hoped he learned something. She hoped he changed. But she also knew that one person changing was not enough. The whole system needed to change. 6 months after the incident, the girl was featured in a major magazine as one of 30 under 18 changing the world. The article talked about her app. It talked about the Future Innovators Program. It talked about how she had used a negative experience to create positive change. The girl's mother bought 10 copies of the magazine. She cried when she read it. The article ended with a quote from the girl. The reporter had asked her what she wanted people to know. The girl had thought about it for a long time before answering. I want people to know that Black excellence is not rare. It is everywhere, in every neighborhood, every school, every community. But so often it is ignored or questioned or doubted. People like me have to work twice as hard to get half the recognition. We have to constantly prove we belong in spaces we have every right to occupy. That is exhausting. That is unfair. That needs to change, she continued. But I also want young people who look like me to know that they should never shrink themselves to make others comfortable. Never apologize for being excellent. Never hide your success. Take up space. Be loud about your achievements. Drive your nice car with pride. Walk into any room like you own it, because you have just as much right to be there as anyone else. The girl was accepted to several prestigious universities. She chose one with an excellent computer science program and generous financial aid package. Her scholarship from the CEO covered what the aid did not. She would be able to graduate without any debt. She would be able to focus on her studies and her dreams. On the day she graduated high school, the girl drove her Tesla to the ceremony. She wore her cap and gown. She was valedictorian, of course. In her speech, she talked about resilience, about courage, about using your voice even when it is scary, about fighting for justice even when it is hard, about never giving up on your dreams no matter how many obstacles appear in your path. Her family sat in the front row, cheering louder than anyone. Her mother cried happy tears. Her little brother held up a sign that said, "That's my sister." The girl looked out at all the faces in the crowd. Some were people who had supported her through everything. Some were people who had doubted her. Some were people whose lives she had touched without even knowing it. After the ceremony, a young Black girl approached her. She could not have been more than 12 years old. "I saw your video," the girl said shyly. "I saw what that police officer did to you. And I saw how you stood up for yourself. You made me brave. Thank you." The girl hugged the young girl tight. This was why it was all worth it. This was why she had shared her story despite the fear and the hate and the attention. Because somewhere out there, young people were watching. Young people were learning. Young people were being inspired to stand up for themselves too. That evening, the girl drove through the same neighborhood where she had been stopped. She drove past the exact spot where Officer Mitchell had pulled her over. She thought about that night, about how scared she had been, about how humiliated she had felt, about how angry she had been. But now, driving past that spot, she felt something different. She felt proud. Proud that she had not stayed silent. Proud that she had used her experience to help others. Proud that she had created real change. That traffic stop had tried to diminish her. It had tried to make her feel small and unworthy. But instead, it had become the spark that lit a fire. A fire that spread across the country. A fire that could not be extinguished. The girl turned on her music and smiled. She had a bright future ahead of her. College, a career in technology, more opportunities to help young people like her, more chances to make a difference. She was exactly where she belonged. And no one, not one single person, could ever make her doubt that again.